All right, welcome to another Sunday morning. Um, got got a few things to talk about. Where do I want to start? I was just going through um all the points and working out how everyone did for the round at Tassie. I did manage to get around to finishing that last time, and then I'll finish tidying up my title chase point standings things, and that should be helpful. And it'll should iron out because I think that must be Brody at the top there, and then Brock down. So I think did Brock already have the lead? Or he must already take it during Tassie. Just something that sort of eluded me, I think. So I just need to get a few things sorted here. Had a big day yesterday. Recording for the same industries. I had a lot of caffeine to try and stay awake because I knew if it was going to be a long one, I was just going to be really tired, and I don't know if it was really worth it because I ended up struggling to get any sleep last night, and it's probably better off just toughing it out and pushing through it. But yeah. Anyway, so we got the 2026 standings. I was up to, I think, Declan Fraser, wherever I was up to. No, I think I already did Decker. Oh no, never mind. He did not have as good a weekend as his teammate. So and it's interesting because I think that he might not get a second year if he isn't performing as well as Jaden Ojeda, because presumably Ojeda's being chucked in the deep end, and oops, accidentally put Ojeda's points in there for the team, because Ojeda is doing a much better job with less experience. But maybe general experience counts for more. Ojeda's obviously done a lot of GT stuff, and maybe that counts for more. Never should have got the seat, I'll be real. Yeah. I think that it was probably worth the chance because he was hanging around wanting the seat. But I did a video ages ago talking about how Declan Fraser didn't do a good enough job in 2023 against Courtney and Randall and Waters at Tickford. And I think he was a solid co-driver as well. So it was hard to be sure that he was going to be who was going to be better. But I think that it's, unless he fixes his year, and he may have the rest of the year, he may not, depending on who's around, who might be better suited to take that seat. It could. He could, if he has the rest of the year, he really needs to turn it around. Otherwise, it would make sense that he's gone, because you can't. I think I've got most of these. He's only beaten his teammate in qualifying 4 times. Ojeda's way better and has been getting better results than Decker, and it's just not been good enough. Ryland Gray. Ryland did not do a bad job in Tassie. I think his qualifying was improved, but then his race pace was worse somehow. That was interesting. And I guess something must have happened in that third race for him to go to the 23rd. 4 points. Not the best weekend for him, because he was sort of improving. Yeah, it's his worst weekend points wise. Cameron Hill. I think Cameron Hill had a pretty good weekend. He wasn't as good as Andre, but it was respectable for what you'd expect from a BJR driver. You'd have one car at the front, the other car probably wouldn't be that close. Usually a bit of a one-car team in that respect, where they've got one driver that seems to do a lot better than the other driver. Not as good as Randall. Randall was just consistent. Oh, and that 19th place in the big points race, that did not help Cameron Hill's cause. 64 points that needs to go there. And Job Stewart. I think Job didn't really have that good a weekend either, but I think we weren't expecting them to light the world on fire with Erebus, because we're not able to see the best of Erebus at the moment, or the best of Job Stewart at the moment, or even the best of Cooper Murray, because Erebus aren't giving him the right car. They need to fix that as a team. 53 points for Job. You know, even Job's had better weekends. Macca, bit of both. Yeah, I mean, but Job is a rookie. He's had a lot less main game running than Cooper Murray, so you can't. It's unreasonable to expect him to jump in and be right good against Cooper Murray. But you know, Cooper was pretty good, so it may be showing that maybe he isn't it. Maybe he's not. You know, and I feel like for his career, it took a lot longer for him to get to the level he's at. I could be wrong. Maybe he spent the same amount of time as Cooper. I think Cooper was in Super 2 for what he did 2 years Super 2. Job did Super 3. Cooper came from he came from Porsches straight into Super 2. But I think, did Cooper spend a lot of years in Porsches? Don't think he did. Cooper wasn't even good enough to make main game. What? Cooper's good. He's good. He just had that issue in the first race. Macca Jones. The wild card juiced him up. So he's had 3 different teams that he's driven for. Well, no, hang on. He said 2 different teams he's driven for. He drove the wild card, but then he also replaced Jack LeBrock at Adelaide at the end of 2024, and he did a very good job there as well. And then he jumps in alongside LeBrock last year, and it was 50-50 last year, especially coming on later in the year. Cooper was beating LeBrock, so I think that Cooper was doing a good job. He was a bit crash happy was his problem, but he's pretty much sorted that out. He's not a team leader. Well, how many drivers are team leader? The team need a leader. Do you think that Brody Kostecki and Will, maybe Brody Kostecki is a team leader, but do you think Will Brown's a team leader? A lot of them. Well, a lot of the drivers are not team leaders. I think Jack LeBrock might not be much of a team leader. I think he's just a bit more experienced, but I don't know. For a driver to be a leader, do they have to, they can direct the setup to a window that works? Yeah, so you have to have a star driver, basically, someone who's getting the results while they work out how to get the other driver up to speed. That's what a lead driver is. So, yeah, if you don't have someone who has won races or got podiums or something, or has been some kind of sensational talent, then it's going to be a tougher time. Jones 16th. 18. 78. I think I saw an article this week calling Jack LeBrock a veteran or something. Or someone was called a veteran. And I was like, why are you calling him a veteran? He hasn't even been around for 10 years. Wouldn't necessarily say so. Drivers that if the car is in the setup window, they get the job done. All right. But if the car is in the setup window and they don't get the job done, then they're not a leader because they're just sort of driving. They got lucky, maybe, reaching the maximum potential of the car. Yeah, like Brody, or Brock Feeney, or Matt Payne, or Anton at the moment. What else we got? I feel like Jack LeBrock then maybe reaches the maximum potential of the car then. Even Kai. Yeah, well, Kai just had that mistake in qualifying. He doesn't waste the car too often. No, when Kai's got a car that can get to the top 10, he puts it in the top 10. He's carried on his performances from last year. So he should be on track to be in the finals for sure this year. 78 points for Macca. And Reynolds, not so much a good time. One race does not make up for all the bad races. I watched what's it called? The cool down lap or something that they've got on Supercars with Mark Winterbottom and James Pavey. I was watching that this morning, and Frosty was saying, "Oh, it's not a points accumulation championship anymore. It's it's if you have a good race and then you're in the fight." But I think Chaz Moster only had one good race. It was a first and a ninth. Those are the results that he got. Heimgartner got, I think, 2 top 10s. What race is this? This is the third race, so he won the second race, and he was top 10 in the other race too. It was like 5th. Yeah. So I think Andre's probably a lead driver as well, but it's interesting with BJR because it's like they've always got a lead driver, or maybe they're just good at picking lead drivers. I'm looking at Reynolds. 135 points. That's not a bad innings for Reynolds. Puts in a bit further up. Not quite as good as Brody. Aaron Cameron needs work still. Here we go. Plus, at least Aaron Cameron had a couple of clean races on the weekend. And a top 10, which you badly needed, especially on the big race, where you get more points for it. You kind of made up for a bad start to the weekend there. It's almost his best weekend of the year. That puts him like here, right? There. More points than Jimmy Golding, which is interesting, just for that top 10 in the last race. I think I noticed last year, if you stuff up the last race, it doesn't help you in the championship. Ryan Wood had a few too many bad races last year when it was the third race, and you can't screw that one up because you lose too many points. It seems a lot more top heavy, the points in the third race. 14 for Jackson Walls. 15 plus. And so it's just not a championship that you can afford to take a risk and fight for the world championship. And then drop 5-6 spots just for one position, because then that could ruin your whole weekend. Alright, Jackson Moore, 63 points. That puts him third to last. Okay. It's 24 cars, isn't it? So we're looking at 24 cars here. So 24th for Cooper Murray. His worst weekend of the year. Oh, that's so annoying that I don't have the points tally for Sydney. 23rd for Job Stewart. 22nd, Jackson Walls. 21st, Ryland Gray. 20th for Decker. 19th for Jack LeBrock. Do you think there's a driver in any of the junior categories that deserves the shot, or maybe even a co-driver that deserves a shot in the main game that just hasn't had the opportunity? I wonder if that might. Sometimes the teams just go for youth because they've tried enough experienced drivers. Who's in Super 2 right now? I don't want to see Brad Vaughan in. I don't hate the guy, but I just don't think he's good enough. 14th. Who else they got? Lockie Doughton. Bit fast and furious, I think. Can't remember what his consistency's like. 13th, 12th, 11th. 9th. What else? Who else is in Super 2 this year? Alice Barkley's not that good. Who's the other one? They've got Ayrton Hodson. And got Tommy Smith, but Tommy Smith was not impressive. But I was impressed when he did that TA2 race at the Bend, and I was like, what? That's Tommy Smith winning that race? But, sometimes it's the car. I think we talked about this when it was much fresher. Not that I have much more information than what I've just said. Just general surprise. All right. Brock, 286 points. Now, hang on. I've only got 4 round, 2, 3, 4. Oh no, I just got the 1 round. Alright. So, round 5, 286. Will Brown was 5th. That was good. 203. Oh, I'm doing it wrong. Okay. It's 286 plus 925 into the thousands. It's interesting. I wonder if with the final system, if it really makes a whole lot of. I think it probably makes difference, and I think you said that you disagree with the idea that Chaz actually that Walkinshaw and Chaz organised their setups around the finals rounds. And so he was just at at tracks that he was normally good at, and that's why he won the championship. Um, I obviously had a bit of luck with Brock Feeney's car dying on him. I saw someone saying that Brock Feeney choked in the Supercars comments. There's a lot of stupid people in the world, and that person that commented was one of them. But it's sometimes people don't understand what's going on. Like, obviously, I guess if you don't watch the race, you don't know what happened. But people who say that Brock Feeney did something wrong. Some people have agendas. Some people just don't like Triple Eight. I think they see Feeney step into Wincup's shoes, and now he's like winning races and getting pole positions and doing really well. Unfortunately, last year wasn't able to bag a championship. This year, hopefully, he does. But he's up against Brody, who's in a much better situation than he was last year. It's going to be harder for him to get. They get so deep into the agenda that Ted said, believe it. Yeah. It's just sad, really. Some people, they just, they don't want to look at the evidence. They just want to, they want to sell their story and say the best driver is the one who, like, maybe they're a Brody fan or something, or maybe they're a Chaz fan. I don't know. Obviously, it can get quite toxic online, and I think it's not very nice. Also, Triple Eight hate too. Yeah. So 203 plus 632. Yeah, the Triple Eight hate's pretty fierce. It's stupid. There's a lot of children on the internet. I don't care if they're 50 years old. Nobody likes a serial win. Yeah, exactly. I didn't like McLaughlin when he was winning all the time. I didn't like SVG when he was winning all the time. I didn't like Whincup when he was winning all the time. But you have to give credit where it's due and say he's just doing a better job. It's not like his teammates sitting behind him. His teammates 5 positions back. He's just better. Unless somehow they're putting all their eggs in one basket and saying this guy's the best guy. And sometimes when I think about it, I don't know if a team could really do that. I get hiring people that will work well with your lead driver, like they did with Walkinshaw, and then they looked for that special talent and got Ryan Wood. Stars aligned for Will Brown 24, honestly. Yeah. And I think maybe he doesn't really work well with the tires as well. What he's been dishing up since is crazy. Yeah. I think this year qualifying has been a bit better. It's been quite a bit better this year. So he has been. It's a bit more easy coming getting the results. But he's way off. Race pace is worse. Okay. Yeah, well that might do it. Yeah. So if he had the pace that he had last year, he should be winning races. But I don't know. I wish we had like the Natsoft data where it had like every single lap that he did, because then you could see if he was actually going, like in relative numbers, if he was slower relative to Brock than last year. I wish we had that information. Aaron Cameron. Oh, here we go. I won't do him first. It's just going to make life too hard for me. We'll do Matt Payne first. And Matt Payne he's on for a good year too. He's doing a really good job, I think. Even when the car wasn't good at the start of the weekend, he put it where it needed to be. There's almost nothing to fault him by that puncture, and he got crashed by Golding. I can't remember what happened at Christchurch. But it's been damn near faultless. I mean, 19th up to 8th is not an easy thing to do if you know you haven't got the car in the right window. 11:21. But then they sorted it out for the next race, and that thing was just glued to the podium. for the rest of the weekend. It seemed like I don't know if they got the qualifying setup right or they just got lucky, but I don't know. I think it's kind of hard for a team like Grove to be lucky. I think they're just good. 189 plus 728, 917. Kai's a little bit off. I think he had a bit of a stinker in the first round, bent steering arm. Can't remember what happened at Taupo. And then penalty for hitting Gray into Cameron, apparently. Which I need to go back through my information, make sure I've actually got the details right, because I was just going off memory when I was writing that stuff down last weekend. Anton 219 plus. I had an Anton fan come on the stream last weekend, and he was interested to know how well Anton was doing. So we went back through last year's data, this year's data, and I noticed that last year his qualifying wasn't quite good, but the race pace was good. And then the race pace was still as good, but they fixed up the qualifying pace, so he was qualifying in the top 10. And so he was up there. There was a few incidents, but he was up there. And then this year he's just carried it on where he's been right up there. I think we've had a couple of incidents or something. Was that 908? But he's been doing a really good job. Not sure what happened there at Christchurch. I think it might have been a bit of biff and barge, but just banking those 10s. And that's what you need to do. You need the consistency because you need to be in the top 10 after Bathurst to get in the finals. And some drivers are racing too hard for it, like Chaz Mostert last weekend was racing a bit too hard. Like I saw it when he won on the race that he won. Was it the one he won? No, hang on. Yeah, because he stuffed the start. I was just watching it just before. He stuffed the start and then he's bumped Anton out the way, and then pulled a gap in the lead and won the race. And then and then when he qualified 14th or something, he tried the same thing and it didn't work. He punted Ojeda off and got in trouble. So I thought that was interesting. Like sometimes you got to be really careful what you're doing in the mid pack because it's not the same in the mid pack as it is up the front. Because when you're up the front, you don't want to drop down the order. They want to be a bit more careful. But when you're battling for 14th, people don't care as much, or maybe they're not as good, whatever it might be. My favorite thing that I did is put buttons in. Dave Reynolds. 135. I reckon I want to put a title chase button in my thing so it makes life easier for me. Whoopsies, 135 plus plus 402. 537, not good enough, Davey. I don't know what happened with that incident with Brody Kostecki. I thought because they had Ryan Wood in front of Brody, that maybe it was just a bit of a checkup, and then David's just smashed into the back of Brody. So I'm not sure what happened there. But they obviously gave him a penalty, so they felt he must have deserved it. Just an interesting one, that one. Andre hairdryer plus 451, 635. It's interesting. This year is probably pretty similar to 2024, where there was like a handful of drivers who were consistently banking points, like 200 points a weekend. I think it was in 24. Might not have been. I might be thinking 25. But in 24, there were guys who were consistently banking points, and then there was And then there was Percat, Randall, and Golding, who would have their days where they would have a good race or a good weekend, and then they'd be down the order the next weekend. And that was not helpful for their cause because it was they were constantly zigzagging. And I think that's what you've got in the mid pack, and maybe that's always in the mid pack, but I'm not sure if that's necessarily true. Um, it's obviously a competitive category, but and so consistency is harder to come by. And then I've just mentioned the mid pack is quite fierce in the racing, so it really comes down to who's getting caught up in incidents and who's not getting caught up in incidents. Like I feel like LeBrock doesn't get caught up in as many incidents. Let's have a look. Where is he? Yeah, bumped Murray, but didn't get a penalty. So I think they felt that one was a bit more of an accident. 77 plus. Yeah, I definitely need a button to take me to the top because I don't like having to hold the button because I've got that many sheets to go through. 612. Cool. 6 is at 89. Alright. What else? Chairs. 168 plus. 588. 756. And Chaz needs to be carving his way back up through the field because I think he's in the 10 now after last weekend, but I think he came 20th in one of the races, and I can't remember. I think that was for punting Ojeda. Yeah, but I'd have to really double check my information. And we've got Ryan Wood. We can do that one. That's easier. I like doing the teammate ones because it's just quicker. I can press my buttons. 719. 869. And I wanted to do like a head-to-head points system where it's just one, you get 1 point for beating your teammate in qualifying, 1 point for beating him in the race. If it's a mechanical and it wasn't necessarily caused by contact in the race, then that doesn't count because it's not fair if the car breaks down on them and their teammate beats them. Even if it may very well have been the case that they would never have beaten their teammate anyway, but it's not fair that the car broke down anyway. Other stuff could have happened, but yeah, there are so many what do you call it? Yeah, it's just where if someone had a bad pit stop or something, that screwed up their weekend. Where else do I want to go? Because I had Chaz. Who was the other one? Juice. Do Juice's points. That was probably his 8th in the points, but he's been coming 14th, 16th, 11th, 8th. Done a brilliant job. Juice is he's the bee's knees. He's doing a really good job. Which probably says a lot when you think about the teams that were signing him. That Ojeda got put at Walkinshaw with Ryan Wood. They had faith. He was at Erebus, and I think he was at Erebus in 24, and then I think he was there in 20. No, he wasn't there in 23. He was I think he was with LeBrock at MSR in 23, because he did 2 years with LeBrock. So it was 416, 570. So it'd be interesting to see. I think he mainly closed the gap in the points rather than catapulted anyone. And obviously Christchurch, everyone got more points because they had that one extra race. So it's not exactly a fair measure. Um, if it was percentage of available points, then that would be maybe a more realistic thing to do. 5, 7, 8. That says. And then we can go to Decker. 73 points for Decker. But Juice is he's like a. I mean, you can't say he's like a Golding because he never got in. This is his first time in. I like thinking of historical comparisons. He's just sort of he's been signed late, but he's actually really good. But he's not that old either, I think. He's like 24 or something. Oh, I had this information. Where is it? Experienced drivers. He is quite young. Not that one. That's my ranking system, which I'm still ironing out the kinks. But I did. I worked through 2021 and 2020. Reynolds was slightly beaten by Heimgartner. 2020, he was pretty much smashed by Anton. It wasn't like a thorough beating, but it was like 60-40. Anton had him. And I'm going through 2019, but it looks like Reynolds beat Anton in that one too. I just like to get the numbers straight. Anton beat Will Davison in 2021. That one was interesting. Oh, and then I've got Heimgartner for 2020 as well because he beat Rick Kelly quite thoroughly. I think he might have even been better in 2019, but I'm still working on 2019. The one that was interesting was Will Brown was better than Brody Kostecki in 21, but then from 22 onwards, Brody has just been beating his teammates. Jimmy Golding is one that I want to work on. I've got the numbers for 2022. I just need to have to check that information. So here we are, age for 2026. So Ojada's 27. He's in the middle, just off the middle. He's a year younger than Will Brown, who's somewhere in the middle there. Obviously, you got. I think it's interesting. They say LeBrock is like a veteran. He's just older. He's not a veteran of 10 seasons. Like he's not Heimgartner or Waters, who have been around for a long time, who have raced against other guys who are a lot better, and battled them up the front at all. I like to think a veteran has to have been around for at least 10 years. LeBrock is getting there, but it's just interesting how old he is. He's older than Waters, same age as Mostert. Reynolds will be gone at the end of the year, I think. Macca will be around forever. Randall will unfortunately be around forever, at least in a Tickford car. Fraser might be gone, we were saying. Jackson Walls, I don't know if he's on exactly a 2-year deal, but the impression I got was that at the very least, the SCT Motorsports entry is a multi-year deal. And then we were saying Rylan Gray is not that good, but he's got work to do. He needs to close the gap to Brody, and he needs to be qualifying in the top 10 when Brody does. He needs to be racing closer, basically. And getting better. Because it's just showing that he's not this talent that people might have thought he was. I certainly thought that he was a talent. 2026. Yeah. I like seeing some of this stuff, the number of wins. So before 2026, Feeney had 26 wins, Mosters 28 wins, but he's been around for like 13 years. So, lots of I've got a few champions and a few Bathurst winners. And it's interesting looking at who's got the most championships and titles and things. Randall had actually achieved quite a bit before he came into Supercars, but since he came into Supercars, it's just not quite been right, especially since 23. He's been having the exact same year every year and expecting that to be good enough. You can't have a season where you scrape into the top 10 of the championship and get a couple of trophies and do that every year. That's not good enough. Alright, so my goodness. Where were we? 422. That was Decker. Stu Island Grey. 4 plus. Dirt Birdie. I guess I haven't done Brody either. 328. 392. 136 points. Not the best weekend for him, but just for that one. Once he had that rear turn into a parachute, that really hurt him. Yeah, he's 30 wins now, I think, after Tassie. Yeah. Uh, 136 plus 947. 1083. Alright. We'll do Jimmy. 112 plus 679. 791. It's interesting. The real front runners are pulling away, whereas the guys like Golding, who maybe aren't in a good enough team to be running up the front, are just dropping back a little bit. 313 for Aaron Cameron. 123. That's a much better hole for him. 436. Cameron Waters, 778. He's been like a 2005 Russell Engel. 925. 457 plus whatever Randall's got. 124. 581. So Randall actually had a pretty consistent weekend for what it was. Not in the top 10 in terms of round points, but it wasn't too bad. 121. 522. And he did out-qualify Cam Waters as well because they were really struggling that weekend, so he wasn't completely useless. But I think he didn't outrace Waters at all. So I'm delayed my internet's whack. That's fine. I think sometimes it is a bit off. So I've usually got a remember what I talked about 30 seconds ago if I'm rambling about something. Zach Bates 358 plus 23 451. I want to do like a point score just for this year to see who's demolishing the team. Obviously Brody is, but and I think that's probably the worst thing sometimes is you can't compare Brody Kostecki to Rylan Gray, because Brody's at top of his game. Rylan's a rookie. He did his first 2 enduros, and then jumped in the main game, and was also driving the fastest car in Super 2. So not a fair comparison, I don't think. But you've also got Kai Allen jumped in last year, had a few opportunities, where he did 2023 with DJR and 24 with DJR, and then jumped in with Groves. Interesting one. Plus 63 for Jackson Walls. Uh, 246 plus 53. That's coping. That's copping please for him. Feeney went against someone at the top of their game. Yeah, true. And even in 2022, Feeney was actually quite consistent. So I think that we talked about this last time you were on. If you're driving for the top team, you sort of have to be getting some top results. It was decently close. Yeah, well, Feeney was banking top 10s quite regularly. It was sort of like you look at how many top 10s SVG got. Feeney got like 5 less. Like that's impressive. And so if we say DJR is a top team, Rylan Gray should be banking top 10s, but he's not. 299. So, and I think that's a really good case to make. It's a skill issue, yeah. And I think having those, what do you call it? Metrics of measurement, or whatever you want to call it, ways of measuring if someone's good or not, which I think you said a couple of streams ago. If their teammate is winning races regularly and they're not anywhere close, that's a driver issue, and I think that's a really good point. Good morning, 45 points. 349. So many intricacies in Supercars. Okay, now let's update this bad boy. Ta-da! Yay! So, who's in second? Matt Payne had a Brody. Yeah, he really sneezed and shit at the same time, didn't he? Just from getting cannoned by Davey. Who's that one? That's Will Brown, and that's because Will Brown had a bad start of the year. That's Andre. That's Chaz. Brock. Is the blue Ojeda? I think the blue might be Ojeda. Yeah, so he closed the gap. But it's relative to Heimgartner. But you look at the relative to LeBrock, who had a DNF, let's be fair. But I think he also had a really crappy weekend in terms of pace. Gap to championship leader, not close, but closer. It's not when you're driving for a team like Premier, they haven't historically been close enough or consistent. And so once they sort that out, then hopefully we start seeing some actual, like, then we can start saying, okay, it's a driver. But obviously on head-to-head matters, Ojeda is smashing Declan Fraser. What colours? Decker is purple. There's Job. There's Decker. That's a bit of a shame, that one. Because you would have thought, just looking at what Golding was able to do last year or even Stanaway was able to do last year for Premier. Declan hasn't come close yet. We haven't seen a top 10 qualifying performance from Decker yet. Oh, it's a faster way to do it. Decker. No top 10 qualifying performance. Best start was 13th at Sydney. He did get a top 10 at Christchurch. That was about it. Not good enough. Like, especially compared to Juice, because to be fair, qualifying wasn't quite working for Juice, but from Christchurch he's found something and been doing a really good job. And just was a 13th there, but then top 10 at the Grand Prix, and just banking top 15s, another top 10, another top 10, another top 10. Field is arguably worse than before too. Could be, as in performance wise, or that we're missing some drivers that would have done a better job regarding Stanaway. Replacing Stanaway with well, I guess we don't have Courtney anymore because he retired. We don't have Davison anymore, but he was getting wrecked by Brody. Hard to say if Courtney would have been up getting the results that Cameron and Golding are getting, but also it's almost a different team with the performance they've been getting, because there's quite a few front row starts, top 5 starts, and Jimmy's just been consistent, so it's tough. Because I think that Courtney was past it after when he was at Tickford, because he just wasn't close enough. Cameron started to get better than Courtney at the end of the year. Yeah, well, he got a couple of results, didn't he? I think it was just the one. Do I have 25 there? I have to find it. He did start, his results did gradually improve. Courtney was finished in 2019. Maybe he was out qualifying Scott Pye. Dragged those last few years, yeah. Wrong one. 25. Don't mean it couldn't be competitive. No. Well, yeah, there's still going to be a chance, no matter how past it you might be. But it was like, let it go. Yeah, that it was just getting worse. Head-to-head qualifying, he was still smashing Aaron Cameron, and yeah, that one race, the Tickford stint was like, oh yeah, like Tickford should have been his best chance since DJR to win the championship. best of 2015. Yeah, well, if you want to go year by year, I was just thinking teams, but yeah, 2015 was also a really good year for JC. But yeah, you're jumping into the team that the previous year won races, and you're going up against the team's next best talent. That's your chance to prove that you're still one of the best drivers in the field, and he proved that he wasn't because he was just never close enough. Oh, I do have 2020 stuff. Tina was like top 5 and Courtney was cooking that year before he got cooked. Yeah. In 2015, Courtney was quite good. Um, and yeah, that was just a bit of an outlier. I think Aaron Cameron's front row. Courtney could have won Bathurst. He was that fast. Yeah, in 2015. Yeah, well, he was getting some really good results. If I find consistently top 5, yeah. If I go to GT, because I don't have one for everyone, because it'd just be unnecessary. Plenty of top 10s, yeah. He was just beating GT. Like GT was nowhere compared to JC. Just like 2014, the field was shit. Yeah, I think that may have been the case. You had your Tim Blanchards, you had your David Walls. But you also got to think, when you think like that, when Courtney won the championship, he was there was plenty of drivers in that field, and I think the further back you go, the gap from first to last is bigger, and in general, like the field spread, not in terms of like talent spread. In points. Oh yeah. Well, and I think we see a bit of that every year. It's a joke. Okay, let's have a look. 2014. Everyone was thinking it up. Yeah, so we go to Drivers' Championship. I'm going to share my whole screen. Right. Oh, I bet I wasn't even showing the JC stuff. That's annoying. I'm sorry. All right. Yeah. So yeah, Wink Up smashing everyone, but also, when was the last time Wink Up was not into the top 10? 1, 2, 3, couple of times. Second was SVG, and he had a lot more times. A total stink up at Barbagallo. Unfortunate at Bathurst, and a couple of bad ones at Phillip Island. Don't know what happened there. I think Phillip Island, he was just qualifying badly or something. There was a couple of rounds in 2014 where SVG was just bad. Gap between Lowndes and Wink Up. Yeah, what's that? 700 points? 4 or 5 cars would have been in between. Yeah. And sometimes it's like that, where the gap from first to second is huge, and then the gap from second to 10th is a lot closer. So, yeah. 5th in 2014. Who's that? McLaughlin. Everyone was just being shit. Yeah, I think everyone was just inconsistent. Were they actually being bad? Have you watched any of those races? Because I know you watched 2015 recently. Sometimes they just get caught up in incidents. But if they were driving badly and then got involved in those incidents, or if it was bad luck. Yeah, horror races, yeah, where it's just like somebody's just cannoned into them and ruined their day. Um, so yeah, just a lot of Winterbottom last half of the season is a joke. Yeah. And was he still getting poles? How do you sell that bad? Yeah. Oh, third here is Frosty. There's a couple of bad ones. Another bad one. Another bad one. Yeah, that's bleeding points. That is. He must have been a lot closer. And then there's 4 bad races in the last 7. SMP to the end of the year, leading the damn championship. Yeah. 2015. Yeah, there's a bad one. Enduros was fine. Bad one. The rest was not so bad, but he's not on the podium very much. Sandown only just stunk it up. Is this what you mean? 2015? 2014, okay. I thought you were talking 2015. Yeah, I think he was in that one. Where is he? 3rd? Yeah, 10th. Not sure what happened at Sandown. 2015, he did what he had to do. Yeah, well, I think what Chaz said in 2024 was that at Tickford they just did not develop the car. It just was what it was, and they sat on it. And then by the end of the year, they were not the best car. But I think, yeah, they weren't winning races at the end of the year. They got Sandown, and that was probably that might have been the last win for an FGX for the rest of the year. So yeah, Frosty came 3rd, so he's 10th, not so great. But that's a mess. It's because Chaz almost died. Well, so they got distracted and got distracted and didn't develop the car. But they could have. It sounded like he felt like that was happening anyway. Well, oh no, Chaz would have kicked on. Winterbottom got the championship yips. Yeah, I mean, he'd been trying for 11 years. Reynolds was killing it at the end of the year. Okay, let's have a look. Here's Reynolds. That one would have been SVG spinning him. Chaz routine, been beating him easily. Yeah. One in New Zealand. Yeah, I thought he did. So your last win for an FGX was Pookie, I guess. Yep, because the rest of them were 888 and SVG. Lowndes car shot itself. Oh yeah. So yeah, but he was on pole as well, so it's not illegitimate. It's not like he qualified second. Lowndes got him off the line, and then Lowndes' car died. He didn't inherit the win. He fought. He got the position back that he lost at some stage in the race. But obviously it wasn't the perfect race that he might have hoped for to get the win. Start on pole, nail the start, blew the tyre. Well, it was off the start. Lowndes was killing him. Yeah, just Lowndes nailed the start, pulled away. Yeah. 2015 format was horrible. Yeah, I think, were they still doing the old super sprint formats? What were they? Is that 3 races, 3 short races? 60-kilometer race of the super sprints. 2 60-kilometer races. Yep. And one 200. Oh, well, that's similar to what we've got these days. We've got you know, sprint Saturday and long race Sunday. 60 kilometers. Oh, yeah, yeah. Does it say how many kilometers? Doesn't say how many. It just says how many laps. For 50 laps of what? How long is Tassie? 2 point something kilometers. So that's 100 kilometers of racing. So yeah, even just Tassie alone, you're looking at that one and going, "Yep, that one's yeah, god damn." Like imagine watching Tassie in those ones. That'd be short as. How many laps were the Tassie races in 2014? Oh, here we go. We got some. 2 sets of hards for the weekend. Uh, just 2 sets for the whole weekend. I wonder what the and that's 20. Yeah, that's you say it's 2015. Were the 2015 tires the same as 2014? Because they had to reuse on Sunday. Oh, really? 2014, I think the tires were terrible and no one was able to put a move on one another. But that's just mainly that one Darwin race I watched where nobody passed anyone for the entire race. It sort of put me off watching any 2014 races. 25 laps of Tassie. A set of sorts for Sunday. Yeah, that's like COVID tyres, that is. Like 2020 and 2021, those sorts of tyres sets. Spam softs the whole race. Wow. Yeah. And the last one. Both us 200-kilometer Sunday. Chloe Reynolds. Pit lane penalty. Yeah. That was 2015. Kept up the lead and led into the finish line. 2 wins for Lowndes meant that yeah, whatever. Blah, 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 blah. Doesn't say anything about that tyre stuff. Just, right. Alright, what else? What do I got? Oh yeah, I was showing this before how this is race head-to-heads. Courtney smashing everyone. He wasn't top 5 all the time, but he was definitely like up the front regularly and like well in the 10. Then they introduced the rule. What rule is this? Can't use wets until the track is declared wet. Is that right? Okay. Because these days, when it might rain, they're like, oh, people having a shit race would just put wets on. Oh, to save tires. When did they introduce the rule? 2016 or something? Or during the season? It's funny. Yeah, I haven't really watched. Winton 2015, okay. Only a few races into the season, but yeah, it must have been that bad. But if they've got damage or something, they just go screw it, we're chucking wets on, saving our good tyres for the rest of the weekend. After that event, because Courtney put them on after taking out his teammates. Alright. Probably that one where he came 23rd there. Yeah, look, he was not doing well, that one. Winton 2015 might have been a bit of a weird weekend because it's like Courtney was ahead, then Slady was ahead, then GT was ahead, and yeah, the three of them just took it in turns. Holdsworth was nowhere. Yeah, I don't know if Courtney would have won Bathurst, but if GT came third, surely Courtney would have been up there. I think I already did the. Oh, hang on, this is the Garth handle. There we go. Mr. Had a doozy. Yeah. This is something I worked on. I don't know if you saw it. Oh, Mustard has a doozy. In when did Mustard have a doozy? 2015 Winton. Yeah, okay, yeah. Do I still have that one up? Yeah. Where is he? Down here. Winton. Oh yeah. Apart from that one race, that was a bad one. But he sort of broke through there, leading the race and dumped it in the fence. Yeah. Oh, I think I watched that one, and I was like, he's just spun off. It was like he's in a perfect position, 4 poles on the trot, and he's just fenced it. Oh, sometimes you've just got such a rocket that it's too good. McLaughlin was more impressive in 2015, I think, because he was driving a car that was just not good enough. It was just like constantly struggling, and still came 8th in the championship, which maybe says a lot more about how crap that year was in terms of consistency for drivers. If I find, and this is a thing that I don't think I've worked on in ages. Car was shitting itself every chance it got. Oh yeah, it was a dog, that car. He started the year after Adelaide. He was like 23rd in the championship or something, because the car just kept breaking down on him. It's a PowerPoint presentation. But it's like an every year thing, so it's not a numbered one. Wonder why they got all the shit luck second year. Yeah, that's a bit weird, that one. It's a bit strange that the car started conking out that year. They must have done something different to the car to all of a sudden have all those issues. Or maybe they weren't putting new parts on the car or something, and so just having those issues. Maybe they weren't just like replacing parts or something and making sure that things were good. Where is it? It's really good. No, it's an old one. Intense Supercars Championships. It might be this one. What is this one? I really need to be more organized with some of these things. Is this it? No, not really. No, that's just a points gap. That's not helpful to me. Point system. I think that's what this is. Point system. It's a bit of a really weird name for it. No. But it's a nice record of the atrocious fucking point systems. damn. Where is it? It's an old one, so it's got to be... Maybe I did a version for 2020 or something as well. Alright, let's try date modified. Oh my god. 2006. I have no idea what that is. But it's like a points thing. It's like a percentage of points. So you can see how many points they got. New driver. And so I think there was one where it was like the percentage of top tens for Lee Holdsworth in 2019 was just similar to what Stephen Johnson got in like 2009 or something. Drivers and results. I liked that one. That was good. Nope, not having any luck here. 5-year greats. Are we up to doing another 5 years? I don't know. Most competitive seasons. I don't think that's not the right one, is it? Oh yeah, it is. All right. Apparently, I updated this at some stage. In 2024. Okay. So yeah, 49% of the points available for Heimgartner in 10th. I don't have the numbers. 23. Oh, 21. 47% Mark Winterbottom. So that means it was a lot easier to get into the top 10 in 2021 than it was in 24. 2020, that's a much harder fight there. 52% of the points available to get 10th. That's a tough competition. 53% 2019 when Lee Holdsworth got in. 49% in 2018, less hard. 2017, 51%. 53% Michael Caruso. 50% James Courtney. 46% Caruso. 46% McLaughlin. 51% Courtney. 44% Courtney. 47% Johnson. 47%. 51% Stephen Johnson. This was weird. I don't know why, and I've calculated it, but it just seems wrong that the percentage of points available, and these are the maximum points you can get for each round in 2002. You have 400 for Queensland, 400 for Bathurst. So you will have guys who had a crap Bathurst and a crap Queensland, but they were consistent the rest of the year. And the co-drivers like Jim Richards rocked up and won Bathurst. He got 400 points, and that's half of what Garth Tander got in 2002. So it's just interesting looking at that. 2001, 47%. So I don't know what happened in 2002. Maybe I did my numbers wrong, but it's weird. 47% 01, 47% 2000, 51% 99. So that, it gives you a much better idea, like 44% 2011. That's probably one of the worst, one of the least competitive seasons in recent memory. And obviously I've got to update the information for 22, 23, and 24 years. But also it gives you a bit of an idea of how many points they had to get to win the championship. So 85% for Will Brown, 24. 81% SVG in 21. That was actually, so it's an easier one. It was an easier one for SVG. Still won the championship. I think you can do it for 72%. It's probably the lowest percentage you can get. 72% James Courtney, 2010. 61% Mark Scaife, 2002, because Scaife had some bad rounds where he was out of the whole round. Too many issues. But by that point, he'd already won the first 5 rounds of the championship. So he was cruising. 2002 was a weird year points wise. Even some of the races you watch, and they had like, this is back when they had compulsory fuel stop and a separate compulsory tyre stop. Stuff was just weird. Some very interesting things that they used to do in supercars. But yeah, 61% Scaife 2002. But I think it's because of how heavy the points were weighted in some of them. And then I think it's because some of the information isn't clear of how many points you get in Canberra and these other tracks on Wikipedia. Of 552 points for Bathurst. I think this is back when they used to split the points between drivers. So if you had in 01, you've got Murph and Todd. Let's say they won, Bathurst got 552 points, but no, they split it, so you get 200 and 230 odd points. I didn't do any for 02 to 08, but I think it's just because I was interested in specific eras at the time. But yeah, 72%. If you can get 72% of the available points, you could win the championship. That's the lowest that someone's gotten, but well, there are some years that I've got that I'm missing some information. So, but yeah, that's a cool one that I did. Mainly because I wanted to know. I wanted to know if Lee Holsworth had done a good enough job to be in the top 10, and so I wanted to know how hard it was to get into the top 10 of the championship. Because you talk about the grid was shit one year, the grid was good the next year. So obviously 2019, there were a lot of very good drivers. Just all in different situations, driving different crappy cars. I'm going through 2019, and even Tim Slade didn't have the best year, but he was still pretty damn solid all year, and he got the boot at the end of the year. And so it's almost a measure of quality. But it's interesting. There's probably some really interesting number things that I could do with this. That you got like 45, is that 45% or 35%? I think it's 35% from Brown to Heimgartner. It's not 40%, it's 34% from Van Gisbergen to Winterbottom in 21. And that's 33% to from McLaughlin to Winterbottom. But yeah, I think it was 2011, 44% for Courtney. That's a bit lucky, that one, because but even then, Whincup wasn't doing too brilliantly either. 75%. That's 31% Whincup to Courtney, but it's interesting. Yeah. A lot of interesting stuff going on with some of these point systems as well. That's 700 points from Scaife to Longhurst, but it's as a percentage. It's interesting. It's slightly different. think that was running with a round to go. All right, yeah. Um, 23rd and having a stinker at the end. Oh, what? 08? Yeah. Yeah, true. He came. I think the only race he finished was like 23rd or something. That was it. So that's what 28%. That's a 28% gap there. So yeah, and once you break down all the little details, then it gets a lot more complicated. So being more general is easier. But it's also and he won the first race. Okay, yeah, won the first race, and what engine failure the next one, and then 23rd the last one. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's interesting. Um, and Will Davison had 8% more points, but that's 300 more points than than Stevie J. '09, same thing. Yeah. Yeah. Didn't he have a big crash at Sydney or something? Yeah, I got a photo of that. Yeah, 32%. So, but '09, he was a machine. He was just unstoppable. Last night I watched somebody had uploaded one of the races at Barbagallo um where they had the fifth first race, then put it in the wall second race. Brutal. Uh he'd already checked out. He was already on the beers. uh Maybe RD was like, just have fun. Tim Elias, right? What? Already on the beers, Tim Elias? I don't know. I don't know who that is. You'll have to inform me. Oh, the 2009 race I watched. Oh, that's his YouTube. No, no, and this guy was called M Ambrose 47, I think. Um, there was somebody posted a 2009 Sydney race, and it got taken down this week. I didn't get around to watching it. This one was a Barbagallo one, and it was broken up into little 8-minute videos, and so it was just interesting watching the soft tire, hard tire thing going on. Winkup's done 22 laps on the soft and was still going faster than Lowndes on the hard and on like on way fresher hards, and then comes out on the hard and then just uh, but then just mows everyone down. It was just crazy. Just like he was unstoppable in that particular race. Like '09 was peak Whincup, I think. He just maybe and I think there were other years that were like that too, like maybe 2012, 2014. I think he had some really good years as well, really good races. Um, Even I was watching a bit of the 2021 highlights. 2012 Whincup was cooked. Yeah, I was watching 2021 Sandown highlights, and I think Frosty had like a really good start. I think it was the first race at Sandown, and Frosty had a really good start, and they were going like 4 wide into turn 1 off the start. Frosty was pretty good back then. 2024 though was not qualifying well at all, and you would not have seen performances like that. Apart from he had a couple podiums, obviously, but he got those podiums off the second row start, so that's how those things happened. No, he won a race in 23, the one at Darwin. He got 2 podiums. He got one at Albert Park and one at Darwin in 24. Um, yeah. And then, yeah, no, like, it was basically his only 2 top 10s as well all year were the 2 podiums that he got. So it just came off. We've had this exact same conversation before. Yeah, probably, probably. We should move on to a different subject so we don't just repeat the same things over and over again. Alright. But yeah, I like this thing because it tells you how much they might have been getting out of what was going on that year. You're funny me on it. Oh, okay. You had receipts. Yeah, I do. I get the receipts out. You know, I'm always happy to be proven wrong, but if I've got the information, then no, I'm gonna be proven you wrong. Uh, Rick Kelly 20, 60, 51%, 55%, 56%. Ooh, 51%, 54%. Yeah, alright. Let's find something different to do. Oh yeah. This was a fun thing that I did to come up with some sort of number to put on a driver to say whether they were good or not. Courtney 2010 still pisses me off to this day. Yeah. Um, how so? Because he just sort of lucked into it or something? Or he was just talking shit? 'Cause I think there was a bit of that. Never seen a luckier championship win. Yeah, and he was driving the thing. Like, the last race as well, he was crashing into people to try and win the race. I was like, "Your bonnet is so bent up because 'cause you've been bashing into the back of people. That's not a champion drive." He tells stories if he was so much better. Yeah. Yeah. Pretty much he won because somebody else had to screw it up. I can't remember the details, who was leading going in. Why can't we beat Wing Cup? 7-1 champion. Yeah, why can't he beat Wing Cup 7-1 championships? Yeah. That's it. And that one was just really unlucky for Wing Cup too. Um, it was just engine failures and stuff going on all the time. New manufacturer, yes. Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Just is they've got a new car, new machine, lots of teething issues. Yep. Engine failure at QR 24th. That might have been a mechanical note. Don't know. Townsville, something happened. Phillip Island, something happened. They didn't drop pace whatsoever. Why would they? They haven't done it with Ford either. And too slow because after that crash. 15th at Tassie, not great. But yeah, just he had the championship lead, and then bad race there, lost the lead. I just think the gap in team performances back then was so much bigger. Yeah, well, that might be the case as well. Like, yeah, well, 2009, the race that I just watched, I was like, it is insane how, you know, I don't think the gap between drivers was that big, like between Whincup and Tander. But Tander did not have a car that was anywhere near as good as what Whincup had because Whincup was just smoking everyone. Although they were on different strategies as well, so it's probably not a good race to use as an example. Like, he dropped points there, lost the lead. 2010, so I guess Courtney took the lead, and then he's won races, then a failure, another failure. That would have set him back a lot, especially if Courtney was top 5. And then maybe getting more points, hard to say. Took the L's during that Winton QL rounds. The lead. He took the lead. Oh, yeah, because that's right, because he won all 4 races. That's right. Yeah, and I saw an interview where he had like this wristband. Someone had put a wristband on him, and he went and won 4 races in a row. So they said, "All right, I'm not taking off the wristband anymore." That was funny. But yeah, he won those 4 races. That's right. So yeah, that would have pulled a big gap, especially with those 2 failures for Whincup. That would have been a uh, massive drop kick to the guts. That one. And then you got Frosty in the mix, and he was probably getting close to. And you got Lowndes isn't a good example because Lowndes had too many bad races there. But yeah, just after Winton, it would have been just brutal. And then yeah, just a bunch of bad races there, especially the Phillip Island 500 would have been the worst one to come near last in. Yeah, just bad luck, really. And then 2011 smashed everyone basically. 2009 is my favorite though because it was just bulletproof. He had the lead all the way through to the end. Oh, here we go. So Sydney, you were saying that he crashed. What did he crash? Put in the wall in the second race, but he started 26th. So I wonder if he crashed in qualifying because he ended up going up to 14th anyway. So it's not like he was up the front and then crashed. But I don't. I think there is a Sydney race on YouTube, isn't there? I can't show that because it will get banned on New Zealand. Came out of the pits, locked up. Okay, yep. Supercars 2009 Sydney. They don't have it. Inton 1. What? Inton 1. Or into 1. Into 1. Into term 1. Europe. Oh, this will be good. Let's watch this. Oh, my sound settings are off. Hopefully this might change things. Oh! How did you not see him coming? Damn. Oh, bent steering. Brutal. And Alex Davison dawdling there. Jesus Christ. Such a tight track. Oh! What a bad move. Such a dive bomb there. Garth Tander crashes into Caruso. Oh, everyone's got brain fade in the last race of the year. Bonk. And those dive bombs are catching people out. What else have we got? Any other clips? Oh, I kind of want to watch Garth Tander's pole lap in those races. Nobody finished them. Yeah. Yeah. 8 cars in the lead lap in the first year. Yeah. fuck, what's this one? It's 2009. Gold Coast 2009. Holsworth and Caruso. Ooh. And then, there's the other one. Brutal. Bad day. I see Courtney crash in the top 10 shootout there. Who's that? Courtney behind him? It's Rihanna. Skill and daring. Very good. But I want to see Courtney crash. What did he do? There's a big slide heading in. And nothing. No. Oh. Slapper. Oh. Brutal. Oh. That's a narrow one. Yeah. A weird one. Oof. Charlie. You've got a grip level at the first chicane, and then the second chicane is the old surface. What else is there? Is there another clip somewhere? James Courtney shootout lap. Not really a whole lot. Hang on, let's see if there's other 2009 stuff. Pedal cam. Wink up on board. Will Davison on board. A lot of on boards with Will Davis, and he must have been their favourite guy in 2009. Safety car debacle. Goated race performance, Todd Kelly, 2008 Tasmania. I don't know if that one's on. Last 5 laps, Perkins off. That's no surprise. My God, that's quite a bit of him. That's all right. His Tander took a nasty L. What won? The last 5 laps? No, that's minus 500. Is that Tassie? That first one. All right. Wink up Todd right behind him. Lowndes got one in bottom. Oh. Last lap. Oh. He just got him. Oh, no. Oh, get out of the way, Lounsey. Oh, oh wait. Damn. I think he just got him on the inside. Yeah. Cheers. Slowed up between 2 and 3. Oh. Got told on the outside. Pushing right at the hairpin. So Lounge gets him. Pushes him right at the hairpin. I've seen worse. I've seen worse. I've seen worse this year, I think. Yeah. What's this one? This is Sandown. SVG levels of IQ. Yeah. SVG did like worse stuff, I think. Kill the SVG. Todd was doing well that year. SVG just had a good car that weekend, I think. At Sandown. Look at those brakes glowing. Those brakes are red hot on the super cheap car, on Russell's car. Whoa! What was that? Was that just flame from the car, from the exhaust? It was. Must have been running a rich fuel back then, 2008. Marcus Marshall. Oh, Patrizi. Oh. Oh. Nah, he doesn't have it at all. It's just hella dark. It's pre-ethanol days. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. 2009 was when they introduced E85. Got E70 these days, and that's why the fuel. That's why they had to make it a 3-stopper at a big race at Tassie. Because fuel efficiency wasn't the same for E70. Interestingly enough. Rolling those cars over the curbs. Oh. What are they battling for? Fourth. Epic battle for fourth. Russell Engel. Why is Russell frustrated? He's not fast enough to catch up to him, unless he's got huge, like overheating. What do you call like brake temperatures from being behind him? It's really cloudy that weekend or something. That was Richo. Oh. Wet that day. First race was wet. Oh yeah, because that was the one that SVG got the P2, I guess. Lowndes in the box because his car failed. Oh, okay. Yeah. One cup sold. Oh yeah. But he's having a snooze. Looking at the data. Mm. I suppose any mistake and Russell will be right on the back of him. Oh my god, it must have been super duper dark because how bright the lights look. Last lap. Oof. Well. There must have bugs in the bits or something. Bloody hell. Is he about to lap Scaife or something just there? Who was it there in the HRT car? Yeah, Scaife. Who was that? Davison or Courtney behind him? Davison. Not Courtney, Johnson. Flashing his lights. Whee! Go team. Mm. All right. I think I'm going to call it a stream today. Yeah. All right, cool. Yeah. So, it looks like it might rain. So, yeah. Thanks for coming, dude. Had a good chat. Looked at some interesting data. And, also, I want to talk about the title thing. Speed Cafe. We'll quickly touch on this one. Why I've called this one Supercars Goes Half Nut. Supercars to name sole lead commentator. Is set to drop its lead commentator rotation and name a permanent caller after the upcoming Darwin round. And I thought, what's wrong with the rotation? I don't have a problem with it. I thought it was good that they were doing it. So, like, we've got Garth Hander there, and any of the other three are fine. I don't have an issue with them. So I just thought it was a bit. Why not have rotating people? But I guess for some reason has to be Crail. Yeah, don't like Chad. No, thought Nolte was all right. Because Crail was the one that don't mind Nolte. No, yeah, I thought they were fine. Bit too energetic. What, Matt Nolte? But tolerable. Yeah. Yeah, I just thought it's a bit soon. He yells at nothing. Yeah, I think sometimes you have to talk about what's happening at the level that it's at. If it's not action packed, there's no need to get too excited. But yeah, it's just I felt like it was a bit soon that all of a sudden after 5 or 6 rounds, that's it. We're gonna have just the two. We're gonna make a decision. I thought they were gonna do it for the whole year, have a rotation. Thought it was like, why not do that until you're like, nah, it's definitely this guy. This guy's good. But yeah, cooked for Bathurst. Saying Scaife coming back for the Enduros. Maybe. I don't know why he'd bother. Maybe since he's started on that 360 show, he probably doesn't care as much anymore and goes, yeah, I'll come back for come and commentate the Enduros. Yeah. I don't know. Money, love for the sport. Maybe he's a bit not as butthurt as Crompo. Why is he needed? Yeah, well, that's it. We've already got an expert commentator. We've got Garth Tander. Two voices are fine. Yeah. So we've got Garth. Tander Crail's good. Yeah, I think Tander. I don't really have an issue with Tander and anyone else, any of the other three. So yeah. Yeah, so that's it. What else? There was another thing. I think it was just the fuel thing. That was an interesting one. Last year reduced the distance to 78 laps and a revised blend of fuel this year. So that's why. And so that was interesting. Neil and him did it for years. Why they need the extra? Yeah, you don't. Let's say it's dead. Move on. That's my attitude. No use beating a dead horse. We've got the new guys. We'll have the new guys. It's fine. Yeah, we had them for freaking uh for almost 20 years. Like instead of reminding us of how badly it was done, how badly it was dealt with, just move on. Just move on. It's you're wasting your time, and it's probably going to create drama having him there. He might as well show up as a guest, and you know, rather than having him as like an official part of it, just be like, we've invited Scafey to come and say what he thinks about the race or something, and it's just for that one bit or something. But and he's on Motorsport 360 anyway, so he gets to give his take, so it doesn't matter. It's sort of pointless. He's gonna get to have his say anyway. So it'll be like if you put Garth Panda on Motorsport 360 instead of Scafey. It's just unnecessary. Sometimes there's such thing as too much commentary, especially if it's all the same thing being said. Anyway, yeah. That's me done for the morning, and yeah, I'll see you the next time. Thanks for coming. See you, man.